Welcome back, everyone. Anambra State Governor, amidst the security challenges in the state and the southeast, Professor Chukwuma Soludo has launched a security operation codenamed Operation Udogachi. A few days ago, the state security outfit uncovered over 30 graves enshrined in a popular hotel located in Opara community, Demile South local government area. And this has prompted the state government to mandate all hotel operators and landlords in the state to document details of their clients and tenants. Meanwhile, Professor Soludo, who is 2 years and 10 months in office, is already quoting the clamor from political gladiators in the state on how to take his seat with the next election scheduled for November 8, 2025. How does all of this affect the stability and economic development of the state? Tonight, I'm joined by Mazi, Ejimofor, Opara, National Publicity of APGA. Thank you very much and welcome to Politics Tonight.
Thank you, Ejimofor, for having me.
Right. You know, in November, I had a conversation with Barrister Sly, he's the national chairman of the party. Okay. Immediately after that Supreme Court verdict, it was important for me to speak with him, to hear him talk about the future of APGA, how the legal tussle or the political tussle that has been in the state, in the party for that long, had crippled the development of the party. It was also important to speak with him on how exactly, or what exactly he's doing to make sure APGA moves away from a one-state party or a regional party to a true national party. So I guess we can continue that conversation from there. So is that guy still in any leadership tussle?
No, everything, by the grace of God, all thanks to God, and also the forthrightness of our judiciary, for sticking with the people and standing by the truth. We can't thank them enough, and also our teaming members across, the country who understood that nothing but mischief was was playing out, and they stood with us all through the process. And we thank God that here we are today. All things have passed away, like the Bible would say, and we hope and believe that all things have become new. So this is APGA in its renaissance. So
when you hope and believe, it means there are still some aggrieved members of the party?
No, I don't mean that by like there are no aggrieved members. I am just saying that where human beings exist, of course, there is no rancor-free society.
Absolutely.
There is no rancor where husband and wife have their times of, their ups and their downs. So where you have thousands and millions of persons who have both a common interest and their own, individual interest, there's bound to be some kind of clash. But the important thing is that APGA, as it is structured today, we are better positioned to manage such individual or whatever differences that may arise. Especially
ahead of the November governorship election, and your party promise in March or April, is APGA stable?
In fact, we have never been more stable than now. I can tell you that APGA as a party, we are stronger, we are more stable, and we are better focused, to approach the electioneering, outings and periods between March, like you rightly said, and up until November. We are ready.
So is the timetable for the primaries out yet?
No, not yet.
All right. So we should be looking forward to March or April.
Yeah,
all right. Because, that legal battle was between Edoze Joku, Chekas Okure, and Barrister Sly, who says he was just a victim of circumstance. And I had some of your members on this program who said he wasn't a victim of circumstance because he belonged to a faction, and that's quite debatable. But we have a man like Chekas Okure, who happens to be the founder of APGA. Am I correct?
Okay.
All right. He was not totally happy with that Supreme Court judgment. What is he in the party at the moment? How well have you tried, you and the other national executives, how well have you tried to bring it back into the fold of the party? Well,
the much I know from the records, Chekas Okure ceased to be a member of APGA many, many years ago. He was expelled from the party, and his expulsion has been affirmed by even the Supreme Court that he's no longer a member of the party. And that was why it was somewhat shocking and surprising to so many of us when he started parading himself, during that whole legal tussle as the BOT or purported BOT chairman. Our doors are open. Should he want to rejoin the party, there are laid down procedures according to the constitution of our party for rejoining. So up until now, that expression of interest to rejoin the party has not is not to my notice. But I'm very sure that as a party that believes in being our brothers and sisters keeper, we are a party for all, but also, more importantly, a very disciplined party. So if he is ready and of his own volition and willing to rejoin the party, of course he has to come forth with that.
So like I said, you know, is one of the founding fathers, or practically the founding father of APGA, and there's so much that he commands with, I mean, by his name and how well he's been in politics. Are you doing anything at the moment to, you know, bring him back into the field and say, I mean, come on? Like
I said, APGA as a party is now an entity. It's now, we can't write the history of APGA
without a money-making entity?
No, money, how? It's a political party.
I mean, those are accusations.
Shared and common interest. No, making money where? We're neither limited liability nor we're publicly quoted company. It's a registered political party in Nigeria. And of course, with its own mandate and ideologies that it intends to mainstream within the Nigerian polity. So for me, like I wanted to mention to you, APGA's history cannot be written without the mention of Chekwas, at least for his first mover approach to the setting up of the party. But that doesn't still confer on him any element of indispensability because as a party, the party is guided by rules.
I get that.
Even where he has the first mover right, he is not above the law. So, and he had infringed on the laws of the party, which has earned him an expulsion. And like I said, there are also provisions within the constitution of the party for some kind of preparation. But I wouldn't go to confess his sin, to God or to the priest. He has to step forward and, show very robust remorse and, willingness to live by the rules and live by the dictates of the law. So when you say remorse, what must he be sorry for? Well, there was a reason for which he was suspended and expelled from the party. And whatever reason that is, it's not subject of my... activities. A lot of it, so, but it's not actually something I want to go into in our conversations this evening. We're discussing APGA, so it's important to look at all of these issues together. For me, I think it's in the dustbin of history. And whatever it is, good or bad, history will judge all of us. So, but there are definite reasons, infractions from his own path that earned him the expulsion from the party. So he knows. Tonight you're saying if Chekwas Okorie comes forward with intention to rejoin the party, he's welcome. Well, we're a party with open arms. Speaking on behalf of the party. Well, until he does, I cannot sit here and tell you what the response of the party or myself would be. Until he does, then we'll now know how to approach it. All right. So INEC has approved the 2025 Anambra State governorship election should hold on Saturday, November 8th. And like I said earlier, party primaries will hold from March 20 to April 10. That's for the APC. 3 billionaires have indicated interest to vie for the ticket. So let's see what we have here. We have Sir Paul Chukwuma, who is a former national auditor of APC. We have Professor Obiora Okonkwo, who is chairman of United Nigeria Airlines, and Prince Nicholas Ukachukwu, who once represented Abuja Municipal in the House of Reps. How worried is APGA? Especially because APC is at the center and the party will do everything to align with the center. I think your record is quite, it's not updated. Okay. There are 2 more persons, and many more persons too. John Bosco Ononkwo is also there on that list, the last I checked. Chukwuma Omoji is on that list, the last I checked. Well, for me, ambition is free, and everyone is welcomed to contest for whatever reasons, personal or best known to them. But what I can tell you for free is that APGA came with a mandate, and we came on the basis of our record as a party. In the last 18 years and plus, we have, provided in the Anambra very tangible developmental strides that support whatever claim that we make in the public space. And it's on the basis of that record that we are judged by the people. So in the long last, it's the people that would make the decision. But what I can tell you is that everything that we have told the people, that we have promised in the Anambra as a party that we will do for them, we are doing those and more. And it's they say, how did they put this saying that the reward for a good work is what? It's more work. So, and we are, we'll be by November 8th, we'll be filing out again to the Anambra to ask them to give us more work, because obviously we are good at what we do. You're not worried about the APC? No, I'm not worried about the APC. You're not worried about federal might? No, the federal, let me tell you, Nigeria is not a banana republic. And I'm one who has followed the trajectory of the current, president, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And I've known him as one man who, understands the tenets of democracy. You know, so no matter what anybody wants to, of course, names will be dropped. It's normal in politics. People come and drop names and tell you, is this, is that. But there is no amount of federal might that can topple the will of the people.
Okay.
So Anambra are a resolved people. They are an enlightened electorate. They're not people to be shoved aside. And in the last 3 or so election cycle, you know, most persons have bandied this federal might and bandied lots of, you know, other unusual strategy, you know, to lure the people or to bamboozle the people into saying, yeah, we are coming with Abuja might. No. Abuja is Abuja, Anambra is Anambra. But I can tell you for free that everyone who's coming to that election is coming on the basis of their records. So it is in the Anambra that will sit and look at everyone in the face and say, you're good or you're not good. But I can tell you that with what's on ground, we are guaranteed of
so politically a lot is happening in Anambra State at the moment, because we also have former chairman of the PDP in Anambra State, and I'm talking about Ndibuso Wobu, accusing some leaders of the party of sabotaging the party in the past, and that's the reason for its failure to bounce back despite all efforts. And he also said this time the party is united and ready to take its rightful place, which is the government house. You know, as a politician, I know the next thing you would say is there's a mere optimistic statement.
Well, I'm happy you said that.
Okay.
You've actually preempted me. And I tell you, no one can survive a minute without hope. So he's free to be hopeful.
Right. But for the Labour Party and the Peter Obi factor, you must be worried.
No. We've never. Anambra has a unique pattern, electioneering pattern.
All right. Talk to us about that.
Well, like I told you, that we have a very enlightened electorate. The Anambra voter is a very sophisticated person when it comes to making decisions at the polls, and we are very sure that decision, whatever decision anybody makes at the poll, must be influenced by what's on ground.
Okay.
And I'm telling you that if you take a trip to Anambra, and you know, vis-a-vis the promises we made to the people and what they are experiencing currently, there is no voter in Anambra who would look behind or who would look back in voting APGA in again. So there's no, when you talk about the P2B factor, that factor tried playing out in 2017, and we saw how it went. The same factor played out in 2021, and we saw how it went. So whatever, these are different issues. They're different issues, and the Anambra electorate knows how to put them in their respective buckets. You know, so, but as it were, APGA is, I don't want to sound too boastful, but I can tell you that we are on the cruise control.
By November, we know the outcome of this confidence. Because,
certainly.
Still on Peter Obi, this is a former governor, a son of the soil. Yeah. He has a large following. We saw what the obedient movement pulled in the 2023 election. And we also know that Governor Soludo and Peter Obi have a fractured a relationship. Still, how worried is that for you? Or how worrisome, rather?
I don't know what you mean by a fractured relationship. This is, you know,
what's the relationship between Governor Soludo and Peter Obi?
The much I know, it's cordial. You know, Anambra is one place where, you know, politicians come out in the day and they, you know, they fight like, you know, their life depends on it. But the next minute they are in one social function or the other, you know, having this perfect camaraderie. And for us, it's a brothers. We call it Ogomunne. You know, and what that means is a friendly bout amongst brothers. Is about interest, of course, and that's exactly where I'm going to. Yeah. So everybody carries his own interest. You get, so Peter Obi is welcomed with his own interest, and he's welcome to.
Are you indirectly saying that dominance is waning?
No. It's never been there, and I just gave you. I just gave you the example. I told you that if you look at the records in 2017, he was in the PDP. And there was a candidate.
That was in 2017.
And I'm telling you that the same thing in 2021.
Hold on, I'm talking about the aftermath of the 2023 presidential election and what Nigerians saw. Okay,
then look at how it played out in the State Assembly election. Till today, APGA has the preponderant majority in the House of Assembly, and this was at the peak of the, you know, in quote, dominance. So it's I tell you that. These things are seen in different buckets, in their own.
So we'll come back to that state assembly election you just mentioned and the huge allegations surrounding, you know, that victory. But your party is insisting that Professor Charles Soludo has no credible opposition in the November 2025 governorship election. But don't you think that is too early to call? And I wonder what you mean when you say Professor Soludo has silenced the opposition with his development works in the state.
That's exactly what it is. As a matter of fact, you ask yourself, people come to, in fact, there are certain things that Governor Soludo has done that has made it, very impossible for people to come up to want to throw up, empty campaign promises, because he has made governance very tangible. He has demystified governance. So some of the things the opposition, in quote, may be coming up to campaign with are things people already experiencing. Are things people already enjoy.
Others are making empty promises.
Well, I'm empty to the extent that the people are already enjoying these things, and they know that 4 more years, if requested, would only elevate and make it more. Will bring more from where the current one is coming from. So everybody, I can tell you, the Anambra voter, they are auspicious and they are in high hopes, very high spirit for APGA. They know what APGA represents. And I'm sure any day, anytime, they will give us their vote.
All right, Dr. Opara, let me quote you. The APC has essentially been deserted by anyone in Anambra State. This is you speaking.
Yeah.
With a modicum of integrity, and has become a union of political perverts where the center cannot hold after March 29, 2025.
Yes.
You say the Labour Party is basically a group of wannabes propelled by the belief that luck would come to their rescue. For the PDP, you say, I'm constrained from kicking the man that is already down and out of the ring. In the overall analysis, there is actually no credible opposition for APGA. And as a party, APGA is immensely proud of Governor Soludo's outstanding achievements in 34 months. This is you and your party proud of the governor. Are the people of Anambra State proud of Governor Soludo?
I only echoed the popular sentiment back home. This is a statement. What you just read there is a statement of fact, without any modicum of misrepresentation or trying to color the facts. These are the facts as stated. So anyone who feels like he wants to controvert it, you let him speak to the data.
This is how politicians speak. They speak on behalf of the people, especially when elections are coming.
I'm data driven. If you cannot measure it, you can't improve on it. Anyone who is coming to tell you that these other parties have mentioned, let them bring out their records in time past, and let's establish it. And they should even go down to showing you their strength down to the polling unit. These things are facts. I didn't write that just for writing's sake. They were born out of massive empirical evidences that are available to us and available to the Anambra voter. This is just a quote to you the sentiment back home. So that's what it is.
We'll get to that in a moment, but let's go back to the assembly election and how APGA won that election. That last election was in 2021.
Yeah.
Governor Soludo was accused of spending a whopping 3.5 billion naira during the House of Assembly election in the state. And that was why the PDP was able, the party...
No, that should be 2023, not 2021.
Okay. The party was able to win 17 seats in the 30-member legislature. Have other party members defected yet?
Of course, there have been some defections.
So how many do you have at the moment?
At the moment, we have over 18 persons.
Please be specific.
Yeah, about 18, I think.
About 18.
About 18 of them.
Right. So, the last counts, Labour Party won 8, the YPP won 3 seats, while the PDP won 2 each in the State Assembly, House of Reps, and 2 of the 3 senatorials. So this time, there are reports featuring in that the governor has budgeted 40 billion naira ahead of November election. You may need to react to that allegation.
Anyway, I just had to quick it out in a quick just shrug it off, because people would come up. I read where you said somewhere that the governor spent heavily for House of Assembly elections. These are mere allegations. People are only being very, how will I put it? People are trying to be just politically relevant, because
so you're saying the governor did not spend...
they are clutching on straws.
Okay, you're saying the governor did not spend 3.5 billion naira in the last election. How much did they spend?
How will you ask me that question? The question you should ask individual. What you should ask? That wasn't the governor's election. This was state constituency elections, and every individual candidate put up that came up on that in that election.
Know the kind of relationship
so if you want to know how much was spent, you may need to interview each candidate and from each constituency. How much it cost them to be members of the House. We know the kind of relationship that exists between governors and House of Assembly members in this part of the country. But we need to go on a break, and when we come back, we will continue this conversation. Please stay with us, everyone.
Welcome back to Politics Tonight, everyone. Thank you very much for staying with us on the program. Tonight, our focus is Anambra State, politics and security. And I've been speaking with Mazi Ejimofor Opara, as the National Publicity Secretary of APGA. Thank you very much for staying with us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
So let's talk about whether or not the governor has done enough to win the heart of the people of Anambra State.
Yeah.
At the moment, Anambra State is gradually becoming or turning into an ungovernable space. There are criminal elements scattered across the state, killing their own people. As a result of this, the people of Anambra State are living in mortal fear of the criminals. So I want to talk to me about how that looks like a score point for the governor. Okay,
first of all, that statement is, to say the least, quite false. Anambra is not turning into an ungovernable space. It has never been an ungovernable space. And of course, we agree that there may be pockets of issues that are not peculiar to the state. It's something that has been quite...
Security matters and insecurity
what I want to tell you is that the level of insecurity generally is not actually that of the Southeast. It's a teething problem that calls for some regional approach to solving. It's a Southeast issue, and we know why. And of course,
no, we don't know why.
Okay, now we understand that a lot has happened with regards to insecurity in the Southeast, and it stems from the fact that some criminal elements, have hijacked, the process of a hitherto proscribed group known as IPOB. Those calling for, if you like, secessionist or maybe freedom and all that from the Nigerian state. And however it is, that the way the outcome of that agitation has been managed, may have not been so properly done, and that has given rise to pockets of various other issues that has troubled the region. And but like I said,
it's been like I said, enough. If you say insecurity is a regional problem.
I'm trying to give you a background. Okay. So whether the governors are doing it or not, I will tell you what the governor of Anambra State is doing as I proceed. But what I'm trying to make you understand is that
I asked the question because you said insecurity is a regional problem.
Yeah,
in the Southwest. And that's why I'm asking if the governors are doing it. Because I was speaking with Senator Joseph Khaled, who says. Yes, he agreed that insecurity is a regional problem. And he says this will continue to happen. Yeah. When the governors do not come forward, to meet former governors for assistance on how they can, mitigate the security issue. So that was why I asked if the governors are doing enough. Yeah,
well, I wouldn't know if the governors are they overwhelmed? As a collective. No. Okay. Not far from it. Far from it. But what I want you to understand is that at the heart of this insecurity is a psychological misconception, which has to be corrected. Because, as it were, the people, have to come to the realization that the so-called liberators are the predators. Okay. They are the actual criminal elements, who have, started to trouble their peace. And that election is coming up, is because one thing I can tell you that Governor Soludo has done from the very, first day he got into office was to get our people to understand that what is going on is simply nothing but lucrative criminality. And remember that Governor Soludo was amongst the earliest callers, if not the foremost, who beckoned to the federal government to look at for a political solution to the continuous incarceration of Mazi and Anambra. The reason for that is, okay, if this agitation, if the so-called agitators are saying the continued incarceration of Anambra is the reason for the upset or the various issues we have around the Southeast, okay, then give him to us so we can go back home and coordinate our region. But that aside, but we have come to establish for a shorty that what is happening in the Southeast is no longer agitation or a secessionist movement. It's just plain criminality, lucrative criminality. And this is why Governor Soludo has taken time to call evil by its name. Remember, there was a time when everybody was talking about unknown gunmen, unknown gunmen. No, the governor said, no, these are not unknown gunmen.
So these are people's brothers. The government now prescribing IPO as a terrorist.
I didn't get that. You said what?
So you agree with the federal government now prescribing IPOB as a terrorist organization?
Far from it, because IPOB as a body has come to dissociate themselves from some of the issues happening around the Southeast. But what we are trying to say is this: you can't mix lime and lemons together and expect to establish a difference. What we're saying is, if these issues must be clearly, addressed, then they must be isolated and they must be treated in isolation. It's not something you don't lump it up and you want to, give a dog a bad name just to hang it. So I am not here to.
Do they have the political will to do this?
Who do have the political will?
The governors.
Yeah, well, the much I know, yes.
All right.
The much I know, yes, they have the political will to do it.
But how do you feel when you hear concerned stakeholders and proud sons and daughters of Anambra State say Governor Soludo is sleeping on duty when it comes to security matters in Anambra State?
When you say proud sons and daughters of Anambra, well, I can tell you that if you mention 2-3 names, I'll tell you what they represent, and I'll tell you that these are people who are politicizing the discourse. Yes, I'll tell you that they are just simply politicizing the discourse.
So
because Governor Soludo from the day one, put his leg to the pedal to addressing the issues of insecurity in the state, and the results have been quite manifest. When we came on board, when the governor came on board in 2022. About 8 local governments were under siege, under the siege of this so-called unknown government. Then I'm sure you guys in the media saw how local government headquarters were burnt to rubble and all that. But between 2022 and now, you've not had such incidences. Most of those communities that were deserted have now recorded massive homecoming from the people, from the citizens of those communities. So it didn't happen from the blues. Someone made it happen. So anybody who
but we still
comes
have
here,
some killings in some communities. And if you say the governor is not sleeping, I mean, why then do we have economic and commercial activities being paralyzed every Monday and sometimes on Tuesday?
Well,
does it not bother you that your people are more afraid, more scared of some criminal elements who say, don't go out on Mondays, don't make money on Mondays,
then you may need to revisit
what the state government is saying? Is it not sad enough that your people respect that because they do not understand what the government is capable, or whether or not the government is capable of protecting them?
No, you may need to revisit the markets again in Anambra on Mondays. I can tell you that in the last 1 to 2 years right now, we've had very considerable, non-compliance with such, very devious
How many
directive.
local governments?
There's no government on that. There's no space. There's no single space in Anambra that is under the firm control of any non-state actor.
Are you sure of what you're saying? Because I listened to Governor Soludo 2 months ago, and he accepted, he acknowledged the fact that, I mean, when you just about 2 or 4 local governments, 4 local governments at the moment are safer than what they used to be.
So you're misquoting what the governor said, because I can tell you that even in a year like this December, a high-profile wedding ceremony took place in Uli, that people from various walks of life in the country visited, and everybody left without any story. You go down to Newi South, for instance, there used to be a hotbed. About 2 very, and other pockets of events took place. There was this massive, let me tell you, we have the data, and I can tell you that last Yuletide, that's the 2024 Christmas, we've never seen the massive return of the Anambra back home as we saw last December. So people don't come back home to such unsafe spaces. So anyone, if you tell me maybe 1 or 2 communities where we still have, some elements or, pockets of incidences and which our security forces are tackling head on. Yeah, if you say that, of course, and I would ask you, is there any community in the world that is crime-free? Good. So, but if I want to say, look, there's no local government in Anambra State today that is under the control of
We'll ask our correspondent to confirm that.
Yeah, sure. Of course, we'll tell you.
But Governor Soludo has now launched Operation Udogachi.
Yes.
A security outfit. Your people say this is happening because re-election is close. If it meant well, you should have done this a long time ago.
Talk is cheap. And I told you when you said, your earlier question when you said, and how did you put them? You said notable Anambra sons and daughters. I told you, my first response was, mention their names and I'll tell you what they represent. So when you say...
there are concerned stakeholders who are not even politicians.
Well, however it is, you may not sit here to know whether they're politicians or not. So So, but
no, I'm telling you, they are not politicians.
No, well,
whatever, I can't give you names.
However it is, but I know what I'm saying from a very informed perspective.
I mean,
and anyone who tells you I'm a politician, I'm a resident, I'm a citizen, you get it. So it does me no good to come here and begin to say what doesn't exist. And I'm telling you, you can fact check me. So, but when you say people are saying why the election, I just give you a background that when we came into power, about 8 local governments were under siege. That's at today, none. You get it? So for somebody who all of a sudden started experiencing unusual and very massive peace and tranquility that has brought improved livability in the state, the person may want to take it for granted and say, oh, why are we having this improved security? We keep on improving every day. Even the police force, they keep on updating themselves, they keep on going on refresher courses, strategies keep on changing by the day because these criminals are not sleeping. So if the state government has come up with a unique strategy to strengthen what existed, why should somebody come and say he's just waking up because it's election? But I don't blame the person. This is the period where people would come up and say all sorts. But the facts are there to speak for themselves. And I can tell you that Anambra, as of today, is the safest space.
There's a 5 million bounty
for
any whistleblower. But how protected is a whistleblower in Anambra State? Absolutely protected.
Very protected. So, we've had recorded successes.
So it's not about saying absolutely protected.
Huge successes.
What mechanisms are on ground to ensure proper investigation are done so people don't start pointing to their enemies?
First of all, when you want to provide intelligence to us, there are dedicated numbers that you must call. We don't even need to know who you are. There's a control room where professionals who have been trained entertain these calls, and of course sieve the information you're passing to them, because anybody can just wake up and just call and allege anything. So it's not like an all-comers affair where people stand up to abuse flagrantly. There are still systems within the whole process that helps to check for misinformation or malicious information. So it's something that it's structured, a well-structured system. And like I told you, we've recorded massive successes. There have been very credible intelligence that has been provided that has given birth to, very successful operations. It's already in the news. You know about the hotel that was demolished, in Opara somewhere in Idemili South local government, and many other, arrests and raids that has taken place that has been going on in the state in the last 2-3 weeks. These are products of very sound intelligence. I said in Idemili South, particularly Akuku community. Akuku. So, I knew how peaceful that community was. So it's so sad to see that that community has now turned into what it is now. There was I don't know if there is still Agune Chamber. I don't know. That's exactly where I need to now get, make things clear to you. Operation Udogachi is an operation. The Anambra State Homeland Security Law of 2025 has set up a security outfit now known as Agune Chamber, right? And, when you say Akuku, Akuku has always been very peaceful. From the time you left it at up until now, I'm not sure there's been no recorded incidences of crime or anything that has happened. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you, that, of course, there can be pockets. Oba is a developed, more, you can't call it by rural area if you serve there, because it's very, very, very close to Onitsha and all that. So you should expect that, some spillover, flash crimes can happen in some hot beds, and security agencies are also, living up to it and, matching them, meeting them at, the very point where they are emanating from. So there's no, I want to actually deconstruct that notion that there are, Anambra has gone from where high it was to, no. Anambra is better. Anambra is safer. If you want to go to Akuku today, come to Akuku, and I'll come to Akuku and drink Ngwo with you. And you would enjoy yourself the way you did when you served there. All right, so this is you speaking. It depends on whether or not the people agree with you. But for the purpose of clarity, there is Agune Chamber and there is Operation Udogachi. Are these two separate security outfits? These are not. Agune Chamber is a security outfit. Udogachi is the operation. It's an operation, yes, to check crime. Some developing new dimensions of criminality that the state has started to fight, severely, fiercely and forcefully. Maybe tomorrow it could change to some other thing and all that. But Agune Chamber is set up by law as a security outfit, to help the formal policing structures in both intelligence gathering and crime fighting. How equipped is the security outfit? Because this is what the APC is saying.
No investor would risk investing in a state where security is not guaranteed, which is why many of our people are hesitant to come home and invest. The current situation or security situation in Anambra is alarming and demands urgent attention. The African Action Congress is also talking. The security situation has sunk to such depths that many are living in fear, with people resorting to begging for while traveling to their communities. This is unacceptable. We cannot continue to watch our people perished. So how equipped
you see, the APC...
Two questions here.
Yeah.
I know you would want to react to what these political parties have said, but how equipped is the security outfit?
Okay, now I can tell you that from the successes that has trailed, that has recorded
because we know the
so
kind
far,
of sophisticated weapons these guys carry.
and I'm telling you that from the successes recorded so far, you would agree with me that they are no less equipped, in any way. They are very much equipped. And for people who are, going about spilling all sorts about Anambra and the business environment, if you have your Google there, look at the ease of doing business report, the last ease of doing business report, and tell me where Anambra is, and tell me if a state that is part of the top 5 states with highest levels of ease of doing business, has anything to do with the kinds of insecure narrative that they are trying to weave around it. I tell you this, what they are playing is politics. And it's so sad, very, very sad, that people who are, in your words, notable sons and daughters, if you may, of a state are coming on out for selfish purposes to want to demarket, the state they supposedly want to govern. Because there's no data supporting anything they are saying. I just told you, look at the last record on the ease of doing business. Look at Anambra's fiscal profile and see these things, and you tell me if any of their assertion is supported by any notable or credible data. None. So I tell you, it's just simple politics.
All right. So, talking about ease of doing business, one of the promises Professor Soludo made to his people is to transform Anambra State into an industrialized and economically prosperous state. Yeah. Where are we on that?
Well, we have gone, the foundation works are, quite strong and coming up very strongly. And like you rightly said, Governor Soludo promised Anambra a livable and prosperous homeland, well industrialized. People call it the African Dubai, Taiwan, Silicon Valley metaphor. And today, we have new cities springing up across, the state. We have the Oka 2.0, where we are building what we call the AMIC, Anambra Mixed-Use Industrial City. That place would be, the hub of massive industrialization. And also, lots of industries are already showing interest and have shown interest. In fact, the development efforts have, gotten to advanced stages in this AMIC, city. We have the Onitsha 2.0, where we want to birth, the new Onitsha, and talk about the dry seaport and along that corridor. We have the Anambra State Rail Master Plan, fully, planned and awaiting implementation. There's so much that has happened, in the state so far. I can tell you that in the last 34 months, when you look at the level of infrastructural transformation that's happened in Anambra State, it is second to none. The state has never had it any good. As of today, we have over 700 kilometers of road, awarded, with about 410 kilometers fully asphalted. And we have, a process, an agency of government, called AMA, that is undertaking what we call the Operation Zero Pothole. And by that record, by that effort alone, we have covered rehabilitated over 412 kilometers of road. And today in Anambra State, this is a state that is 33 years old this year, without a befitting government house and governor's lodge. Where they used today as governor's lodge was a construction yard by the company that built the Enugu-Onitsha Express Road. But today, that 33-year-old jinx is already broken because both the new governor's lodge and the new government house are at 95% stage of completion, awaiting commissioning. Today we have what we call the Anambra, the Solution Fund City, a massive leisure park, that has both the amusement park and the water park. And as of today, we are made to understand that it's the largest in West Africa, coming up rapidly in Oka, the state capital. You would agree with me that if the young people of Anambra State are engaged, perhaps criminality and insecurity may reduce. So what plans does it have for the young people of Anambra State? Okay, thank you for that very wonderful question. As of today, it's on record that Governor Soludo is that governor who came into power, and in less than 6 months into his first administration, he employed 5,000 qualified teachers to end the era of schools without teachers. Those who are employed are young people. Now, less than 9 months after that first set of recruitment, he recruited 3,115 more teachers because we need to equip our school, because schools are as good, according to him, a school is as good as the teachers that teach there. Now, we also have a program called the One Youth, Two Skill. Now, at the heart of the unemployment we have in our country today is that most of our young people are not even employable. But the governor said, no, we have to get them equipped with at least 2 skills so they can become quite productive and relevant. And as of today, we have the governor has created, the state has created about 5,000, created and empowered 5,000 young people, persons in that scheme, and empowered them. The second batch of 8,700 hours is also in
I want you to react to Bianca Ojukwu's appointment. She's a member of APGA and also a BOT member. How much of an advantage is that to the party and the region? In 30 seconds.
Okay, well, the progressives are uniting, and we believe in the politics of progressivism. So we know that Bianca Ojukwu is an addition to any cabinet and to any government structure, because she's coming with a wealth of experience that is unrivaled. And we're sure it's going to be a huge plus to the cabinet of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
And what does that say about the president?
What
does that say about the president?
Well, like I just told you, that the progressives are united.
All right. Sadly, we're out of time, but I'm sure we'll have another conversation before the party primaries and before the governorship election. Thank you so much for joining us on Politics Tonight. Mazi Ejimofor, Opara, National Publicity Secretary of APGA. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Ma.
And thank you very much for watching, everyone. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight, but you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at midnight. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Have a great weekend.